I get it. You don't want to be hurt again. So how can you ever trust enough to allow a new partner into your life, let alone become vulnerable enough to have a spiritual connection? It's a really big question, and one that's asked the world over by anyone that's ever been hurt through the relationships. Hi, I'm Gail Marie from 6 Dimensions of Healing, and I've been a spiritual counsellor for over 22 years, helping people to feel empowered in their relationships through spiritual soulmate. So what makes you vulnerable? Is it wearing your heart on your sleeve? Maybe it's because you've been hurt before, or being in denial that something you don't want to know about is going on. There are many things, events, and people that can make you feel vulnerable. And they all have a common thread: fear and insecurity. So that's what we'll talk about today. How to become empowered when you're at your most vulnerable. So let's determine when you are most vulnerable. It's when you're afraid and insecure, isn't it? But what comes first? Fear and insecurity, or pain and vulnerability? This seems like a chicken and the egg scenario at first, until you introduce another party. Someone has made you feel this way, either vulnerable or insecure. The consequence of insecurity is that when relationship opportunities present themselves, you let them pass with the pretext of not being ready. But nobody is ever ready to be hurt. So how do you put yourself out there with minimal risk so that you're not hanging out on that cliff edge waiting to drop to the ground? It's no different to taking a risk on a new relationship. You may have been friends for months, but you've been hurt by someone else in the past, so you don't want to take any chances that will put you in that compromising position again. It's understandable. But relationships, because they have other people involved, will always have elements of risk. There's always going to be some fear if you allow it over the threshold of your door. The only way to never feel vulnerable is to take the other person out of the equation and understand that you are the only person that can create fear and insecurity in your life. Because it isn't a person who makes you feel vulnerable. It's your own thoughts that spiral towards fear or insecurity. And this is powerful. That's why we show people how to use their mood barometer. It's an inner guidance system you were born with that gives you indicators on which direction you're traveling by using your mood. When you know which direction your mood is going, you can divert it before you reach fear or insecurity. But this takes setting up before a situation occurs that makes you feel vulnerable. So unless you've already done that, chances are you'll have a difficult time doing a U-turn at full speed down a hill. So the other alternative is to pivot often. That means to practice turning your mood from feeling unhappy to feeling relief. From one mood of feeling of discomfort to feeling a little better and then a little better. Moving towards happiness. One step at a time, being conscious of your mood throughout the day and changing it towards happiness as often as you can. This is an inner journey. It's natural to feel vulnerable, but it doesn't need to be accompanied by fear. Vulnerability is actually a powerful place to stand, knowing you have nothing to hide and that you've made peace with how you feel. So tell me something that makes you feel vulnerable and how you can turn it around to feel powerful in your life.